Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another week with us of More Than a Statistic. My name is Justin Griffin. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I have 11 years clean. The show today is kind of what I'm trying to do is highlight everybody that's going to be involved in the Overdose Awareness Day with us on August 31st in downtown Knoxville. So, this is one of the people that I've met through me meeting Jessica and just everything intertwining in a way of where we're starting to get together and actually do things with each other. So I'm excited to announce Miss Desiree Mitchell. She is with Hands of Hope and Hope Dealers Outreach, and she's from Lawrenceville, Georgia. I won't explain too much on her. I'm gonna kind of just pass it off to her and let her do all the talking on her behalf. But I'd like to say thank you for being with us and thank you for doing this. I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am truly honored. So, to let everybody know who I am Desiree Mitchell, and I'm from Lawrenceville, Georgia. And my journey started when my son had a fentanyl journey, is what I call it, and started a few years ago. And at the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I was a parent who did everything wrong, everything wrong, and I just wallowed in it for a long time. I didn't know how to help him. And one day, I just decided to turn my pain into purpose and do something about it. I started going to meetings, and that really helped me a lot. When I was sitting there with other people who were going through the same thing as I was, I felt so not alone. And then I started educating myself about addiction, and I really started to change how I treated my son. So, through that, I started volunteering on the hotline called Never Use Alone. Do you know that hotline? You
I've
do?
heard of it. I've not been there yet. Yes, but I've heard of it.
It's amazing. So I started volunteering for them. And what we do is we sit on the phone with people while they use drugs alone, because that's when people die. So we sit on the phone with them until they're past the point of overdose. And that was probably the biggest education I got. I talked to the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. Um, it was a huge education. So through that, all these other things came into play. So I started my outreach program here in Lawrenceville. And what I did was I just went on Instagram and I found other people doing what I do on a bigger, well, doing what I wanted to do in other states. And I just reached out
Mm,
to them. And I said, hey, I want to do what you're doing. Be out here in the trenches, giving out Narcan, fentanyl test strips, helping the unhoused, whatever. And everybody was so receptive. And they told me, they're like, yes, you can do this. Okay, here's what you do. You contact these people, they'll send you Narcan. You contact these people, they'll send you pipes, clean needles, whatever it is you need. These different organizations will do it. So I reached out to all these people and they all helped me so much. And that's how I started helping myself, was to help others. And so now I have an outreach program where I give out, all the harm reduction supplies. I have my own underground SSP. Um, I also speak at many events. That's really been my thing. I love speaking at events. And in fact, I'm going to Colorado in June to speak at the opioid settlement conference. So I'm
oh, that's
hoping to
awesome.
get those people to send some of those opioid funds down to people like us, the people with boots on the ground who are right here, helping these people. And I also have an outreach program to where I go to the encampments or gas stations or wherever people are um, unhoused and they just need things. So I get these book bags or backpacks and I fill them with hygiene supplies, um, snacks, and harm reduction supplies. But I think the most important thing I give them is hope. And I give them, if they want to sit and talk, I'll talk to them. If they want to tell me their story, because I have a blog and a lot of them tell me their stories and I write it on my blog with their permission. They get to know me now.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that just giving somebody dignity, giving somebody unconditional love, not telling them, hey, you need to go get clean, just saying, hey, I'm here for you. What do you need?
Yeah.
They don't feel like a person sometimes. And I know my son went through that and he didn't have that. He didn't have anybody to tell him that he was still loved. I mean, other than his mom, but the, all these people want is to know that they are still human. Everybody is somebody's mother, father, sister, brother, whatever.
Yep.
And so they're all somebody's child too. So everybody deserves the dignity. So I believe that's what harm reduction is about. So that's how I started my outreach program. And then the foundation came along after. It's called Hands of Hope, HOPE, and it stands for Healing, Outreach, Prevention, and Education. So I really try hard to educate people about um, drug use, drug prevention, um, parents especially like me who didn't know what they were doing. I have my own hotline as well. Um, it's 1-877 Hope TRX. So it's like the prescription for hope. But
Mhm.
my hotline is not like Never Use Alone. My hotline is more just for resources. So they can call me for resources. And I've had mothers call me and just they were like I was a few years
Right.
ago. Just I don't know what to do. My son's gonna die. I think my daughter's gonna die, whatever. And I'm just there with them. Sometimes I'll send them care packages and I just teach them all the things that all the meetings and all the other people in the harm reduction world have taught me. And so I'm just trying to pay it forward. So that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell.
That's awesome. So that was
Sorry.
kind of my vision as well. Was I set out to break stigmas of what this looked like who the people using the drugs were. It's not the low people. It's not the people that come out of the trailer parks only. It's not an inclusive club. And I also wanted to teach
Oh,
people. A lot of parents didn't know what to do, so that's the same goal that I've had as well. Is I want for these other people that have been through it to tell how they did it. That way, that other parents can understand as well. So I appreciate what you're doing.
yes. Oh my God, that's so important. And I think nowadays so many people have been affected by drug use, drug abuse, all of
Yeah,
that. So I think more people are wanting to do it. They just don't know how. I was kind of thrust
yeah.
into it, honestly. Um, and you were right. I wanted to talk back about what you said about it's not just I'm going to quote, finger quote here, the low lives and everything who are doing these
Hmm.
drugs. I've talked to dentists that are in their parking lot on their lunch hour when they call Never Use Alone. I've talked to clergy, um, college students. I mean, people wouldn't believe that it's just everybody, they're just normal people like me and you. They just happen to have a problem
Hmm.
with drugs. And
Hmm.
the more people can put a face to these people, you know, in their head, they just think it's, oh, the dregs of society are just doing these drugs. And it's not true, not at all.
Hmm.
And
It's
I
not
want to
true.
erase
No, I
that
can't agree with
stigma.
that either.
Yeah, I want to erase that stigma so bad because it's everyone, and especially with fentanyl. And now this kratom thing, that's been my newest soapbox because my son got hooked
Yeah.
on this 7-hydroxy.
Okay.
And
So recently, same with us. I've had two different viewers of us have the same struggle with the 7OH. Have you
really,
heard of it? It's a
yeah, that's it.
concentrated, yeah, the same thing. So
That's
I've
what
had
my
two
son
people as
got on.
well.
It's horrible. And
And
I'm afraid that, and I told him, I said, you can get off of fentanyl, you can get off of anything. He said, Mom, this is worse than fentanyl.
that's
He said
what I
that.
mean. That's crazy too. It's so crazy. And I don't understand how they can do it in a gas station. Like it completely blows my mind.
I
How
know.
it's certain gas stations that carry it. And I just don't understand the legislature there. Like,
And some
how are we allowing
states,
this? No, and
that's so true. And some states have banned it. And I'm working here in Georgia so hard for us to ban it. But when I asked the guy at the gas station who sold it to my son, I said, what will you do when they ban this? He said, I don't care. He said, the manufacturer will change one molecule and they'll resell it. And I was like,
yep,
you
and
can
they've
live
been
with
doing that
yourself?
since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched the CEO of the main 7OH, and he didn't care a bit about the people using it.
That's
It
horrible.
blows my mind, and it's just like, how are we allowing this? Like it's almost nefarious, in my opinion. Is
Mhm.
how are we allowing this? And it's like I said, it's a certain stereotype of gas station that you find it in. You don't find it in the big name brand. You won't see it in Bucky's,
Right.
and
I
it's just
know.
weird to me that how's it set up? Why is it set up? Why is it being allowed?
When it affects somebody like a governor's child or a senator's child or something like that, then things will happen. But until it affects somebody higher up,
Yeah. Uh,
it's never going to change. But we still have to try. And that's what I do every single day.
yeah.
And I love that I'm partnered up with people like you, people like Jessica. It's so funny how many mutual friends Jessica and I had before we even met each other, you know? So the harm reduction
Yeah, it's a small
world
world.
is very small. And everybody I've met has been absolutely the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. So
Hmm.
I'm so glad that I met you and
Yeah,
everybody
same here. And I've
on this thing. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, and it's been the same for me as every single person. It's just the most genuine, and they're all the same, like the brightest burning, high energy. Just you can tell they do it out of the love of their heart, and that's what's special about it. That's why I was so excited that she even included me in this because it's just I'm just a redneck from Granger County up here that I'm just doing what I felt like needed to happen and what I felt like God was trying to tell me I needed to do. So just in such a quick time and to get pulled into this, kind of like you said, catapulted, I almost catapulted into it as well. But it's pretty
Yeah.
neat. And, and the people are amazing. There's some amazing people. And I'm looking forward to when y'all come up and getting to put like real one on one, and getting to see everybody in person. That's going to be pretty cool.
Definitely. And
Um,
I commend you
so,
on your 11 years.
yeah, thank
That's
you.
something to be so proud of.
Yeah. Um, I was fortunate. I was out before I come out in 2014, and that was really before fentanyl was a thing. So
Mm,
to me, I don't take that lightly. Like I feel like had I used through those years, I probably wouldn't be here. Like I'm one of
yeah.
them that kind of understand, that more than likely the way I was at the time, I would be dead as well. And it just breaks my heart, especially like with Frederica, how I'll never forget when I seen her son's picture. She followed me off of Jessica's, and I, f- you don't think about the young kids, you just think about the old junkies. There's like a stereotype, like we talked about, and
Yeah.
the more I get into this, it just breaks my heart more, and it makes me care more, and it's good to see other people around that's been in it longer that that just like you said, I'm getting to learn a little bit off of you, you learn off of me, and we're all
Hmm.
just achieving together, and that's what I like about this. It's pretty special.
Well, you know what? To that end, so I don't know if Frederica told you how we met. Did she tell you how we met?
No, no.
So I was speaking at a town hall on fentanyl, and she happened to be there. And we talked afterwards, and we decided to partner up because we're doing the same thing. And she mentioned her son, Quay. And we never put two and two together, but her son and my son played football together years ago.
Mm,
And we didn't even realize who each other were because this was many years ago. So we partnered up, and because we're doing the same thing in the same city, her
mm,
son, passed away. And, my son's still with us, but he still struggles. And so we formed Partnership for Purpose Day. And I know she'll talk about that. But the governor, I mean, I'm sorry, the commissioner of Gwinnett County, um, he made it a proclamation that April 11th is going to be Partnership for Purpose Day. And we just want to show people how important partnerships are, you know? And
sure.
so it's going to be an event. It's going to be a 5K run, and there's going to be vendors there and everything. But it was born out of just what you were talking about, just people partnering up together and making this bigger than what I could do or she could do or
Hmm.
anybody could do alone. We're trying to make it bigger. So all the partners that we can get is going to be a great thing. So I'm really excited for that on April 11th. But that's how we met, through our son's, common, back when they played football, they were fine. They were just little
Yeah.
types playing football. And it turned out, and then you see how their lives went completely different. And, I think by him knowing that Quay died that way, well, I know it affected my son because he told me, because he used to say he wanted to die all the time. And then when he found out about Quay, he said, Mom, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. And that's what it took. I've lost since I got clean. I've up to 33 people. It's been family members or super close friends. And that's same for me, is this has all been born out of pain. Um,
Yes.
the show spun off of the last one. That was the one that really got me because it was a close friend of my wife's as well. Like we were both friends with this person and it was a super close one. So that was at the point of, I was sitting back and I was thinking, what am I doing about it? So it's fussing and complaining. And now here we are talking.
Here you are. Now
But
here you are.
I'm here to bring awareness. Let me ask you, you talked about how, you got it wrong in the beginning, and there are some people on here that's watching that they're either inactive or they have a family member in active addiction right now. What are some recommendations that you would have in dealing with it now, knowing what you know? Like, what would be some insights that you could give to them?
The first thing is you cannot bully them into stopping. You cannot threaten them because it does not work. And I guess you know that from being in addiction.
Yeah.
I thought if I just said, you can't have this if you don't stop, that would work. And it does not work. So, also,
Yeah.
I learned to treat him with dignity. A relapse does not mean it's a moral failure. You know, it does not mean there's something wrong with him because he did drugs. I Nobody wakes up and says, I want to shoot up heroin today just because it's fun. You know, drug use starts from
Mm-hmm. No.
something that is hurting them. I tried so hard to get to the root cause of his pain. And I thought sending him to rehab will just fix him. And that does not work. 30 days in a rehab
No.
rarely ever fixes anybody. Um, but I've learned that along the way. Rehab was great for him here and there when he worked it, but anybody can get off of a drug, but staying off of it, killing the pain, whatever causes in your heart and your mind,
Yeah.
you got to get past that. So it's my goal one day to have my own sober living home, but it won't be like the regular ones that my son has been to because they're just money grabs and there's more drugs in there
Yeah.
than on the street usually. But it would be more like a healing center. I wanted to encompass the
Mm-hmm.
whole person, get to the root of their issues so they don't want to do drugs and they don't want to mask their pain. Because most parents don't know they're just masking a pain of some sort.
Yeah.
There it's something, I was raped as a child or I lost my father. Something, it's always something. I mean, even if anybody watches what's that show? Intervention, you know, it's always something in somebody's past that makes them start doing this. So I would tell them to be cognizant of that and to always treat them, always love them. You can love them from afar if they're violent or if they steal from you or what. I've had to do that with my son, but always let them know that you love
Yeah. Amen.
them.
And that's what it took for me, is I had to get to the point of I had to do it for myself. And I think that I heard it best put when they said that the fear of change starts weighing less than the fear of remaining the same. And that's when the switch happens in the addict's brain. And that's where I got to. We got to a point of, my story, the rock bottom, it's not important, but it took me having that to really step back and say, okay, we got to try something different. And I'm one of the fortunate ones. They called
Yes.
me a white chip wonder because I did spend 30 days in patient rehab, and I've not had a relapse since. Thank God for that.
One
Um,
stint?
trying to think of
Wow.
One time, yep. I had
That's
quit using.
amazing.
I got found out. I had found out. I got found out, should I say, a couple of months before I went to rehab. So we had stopped using, but that was just at a threat of someone else. So, we quit long enough till the suspicion was gone. Then we started back again. And then they found out the second time. And that's kind of where it all come down. And that's where I stepped back. And my biggest thing was I had a 2-year-old son at the time. He's 14 now, but
Ooh,
I didn't have a dad growing up. So for me, it was the realization that I'm about to do the same exact thing my dad did, but to my son this time. And that was my will to change outweighed my will to stay the same, because the other way I wouldn't be here very much longer. Probably wouldn't have seen him make it to 5 or 6 at the rate I
right.
was going. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes,
But
that's
you're right. A lot
amazing.
of, yeah, you have to be there for yourself, though. It definitely does take that in the addict's mind, is they have to be ready. So I agree on that. Um,
Yeah.
if people was to need your resources, how would they get in contact with you?
They could email me, hopedealeroutreach@gmail.com. And my hotline is 877 HOPE, HOPETRX. And I also have a blog on Substack called Healing Starts Here. And it drops every Tuesday at 10:08 a.m. And it's full of harm reduction stories, sometimes personal stories, sometimes just my own observations. It's really cathartic for me, but I hope that people like it. So yeah, that's it. I'd love to hear from anybody who needs help, even if somebody just needs somebody to say, "I've been there," I
Yeah,
got you. I'll help you through this. I can do that because sometimes all people need is some validation. So yeah,
sure.
I'm right here. And then if anybody is in active use, I would implore them to call the Never Use Alone hotline. I don't know the number offhand by heart, but if they're ever using a loan, it's a great resource and it's completely confidential. Nobody knows who you are, but they need to know where you are so they can send help in case you need it. But it's 24/7, 365.
That's insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we just kind of
Well,
disperse?
I just wanted to thank you again for having me. Thank everybody for listening. And
Yes,
once again,
ma'am.
you are so inspirational. I mean, 11 years,
No, just a
is
man.
absolutely amazing. I thank you so much for being a part of our circle.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so glad to be a part of it too, and looking forward to meeting you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. And for everybody else, guys, we'll be back with you the same time next week, same place. So appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great night.